Hey guys, welcome to Ryan's Range Report. Today's video is going to be about the Remington 700 and the Mark X Pro trigger. As some of you know, and many of you might not know, Remington has recalled millions of rifles. If your rifle was made between May 1st, 2006 and April 9th, 2014, you should check to see if your rifle is affected. What happened is Remington is checking to see if there's an excess amount of bonding agent on the trigger. And if there is, then they're going to replace that trigger or take the bonding agent out. And how that's going to happen is you're going to have to send the rifle in. They're going to give you a return authorization form, and then they're going to take the time. They're going to get it fixed and they're going to send it back. To me, that seems like something that'll take quite a long time. So what I suggest is replacing the trigger. Me personally, I'm not a fan of that trigger. I don't like the way that it. I don't like the feel of it. I don't feel like it's very adjustable. I adjusted mine over what the factory limits were. I actually did have that problem happen to my Remington X Pro trigger on my Micro 7, but every trigger in all of my rifles now that are 700 action based have replacement triggers. So today what I'm going to show you how to do is how to install a new trigger in your Remington 700. In this now I actually have the Timney Calvin Elite. It's their new trigger that's adjustable down to 8 ounces, and what we're going to replace it with is another Calvin Elite. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get this rifle out of the stock. We're going to grab a different lens and get a little closer on it. I'm going to try and take you step by step on how to get that out. So I'm going to take my toolkit from Borka. First, you're going to obviously remove the magazine, go ahead and remove the bolt, make sure that the rifle is empty. I'm just going to remove the stock from the rifle. Now for me, I'm going to go ahead and remove the scope. I'm going to get this set up here so you can see what I'm going to do to the trigger. Okay, before you get started, I'm going to try and give you a little hint. Really take a good look at how this is installed on your rifle, unless you have a side bolt release already installed. This is how you release the bolt, and for me it seems to be the hardest part to get back installed. But what you want to try and do is not disconnect it in the first place. So we're going to start with the front trigger assembly pin, and we're going to drift it left to right far enough to release the trigger assembly. Now, we're going to flip it over. So with the trigger on safe here, we're going to go ahead and push out the rear pin. Again, try not to push it out too far to where you lose your bolt release here. There we go. So that's how you get it just far enough. Now if you see on this side, I have it just far enough to where this is still in here. I have it just far enough where this bolt release is still in here. This saves you a lot of time when you're installing your new trigger. So now, I'm going to take the new trigger out and we're going to get it installed. It's really simple. So, I'm just going to install the new trigger by sliding this in here. You start by taking the front keeper pin and knocking it in. check and make sure that your pins don't block the safety or the bolt release. Okay, so now I have the new trigger in, so I'm just going to make sure that it functions correctly. Make sure there's nothing in the barrel. Make sure the safety functions. Each stock is going to have a different torque requirement. I use these tools from Borka. This is a 65 and a 45. It works great for mini chassis. This is in inch-pounds. Manners, they say for a mini chassis, 45 inch-pounds on the rear and 65 on the front. So now with the rifle back in the stock, we're going to make sure it's not loaded, and we're going to make sure it functions. So we're going to run the bolt a couple of times. Make sure that it doesn't go off when the safety's pulled. Then when you flip the safety on, there we go. And normally what I do is I run that bolt really hard. I'll take it in here and I'll slam it home a couple of times and make sure that it doesn't fall. I push on the rear to make sure it doesn't fall. But it is 7 o'clock in the morning. I am in my garage. I don't know if in my previous video I might have told you guys that my house is flooded, so we're living in a hotel right now, but I came home to make this video because I felt like it was important. I also had LASIK surgery this week, so if my eyes appear fairly red, I apologize. If you want to send your trigger in for the recall, I've left the link below. Otherwise, I really suggest getting one of these Timneys or a Jewel. As always guys, thanks for watching. If there's anything else you'd like to see some videos on, please let me know in the comments.